Can we take the technology that we have developed for our cellular communication here on Earth and just deploy it on the moon?
So I'm Yasmin Gagne. I'm an editor at Fast Company, and I don't love speaking for other people. So Amine, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you work on?
Okay, thank you, Yas. So I joined Bell Labs about a year ago, and before that I've been mostly working in research. So I'm a pure researcher that started off doing my PhD in Germany. I moved over to the US 7 years ago. I worked with Siemens. My initial research has always been about applying digitalization technologies, information and communication technologies to operational systems. So if you think of Siemens, who's a supplier in automation systems, in digitalization, in also manufacturing, mobility, those were kind of the precursors of Industry 4.0 when we started. We did the research calling it more like industrial IoT. And currently, this is the perfect segue to my new journey with Bell Labs. I'm joining an excellent research organization as a lab lead. I have a team that has also been talking about automation, about industrial systems, and how do we apply digitalization to it.
So I want to talk about that a little bit more, but for those who don't know, give us some background on Nokia Bell Labs and what it does.
So I saw the hands going up for those who know Bell Labs. Maybe the Nokia Bell Labs connection, just to explain, throughout the history of Bell Labs, there have been a couple of mergers and acquisitions. And the latest is, of course, that Nokia has acquired Bell Labs as part of the Alcatel-Lucent acquisition. At Nokia, we believe that we are providing the technology that will connect us all. We think of us as the supplier for industrial or also communication systems in the general telecom sense. We no longer make phones, just to be clear.
I told him backstage I really wish they still made Snake.
And just to come back to Bell Labs, Bell Labs is the R&D arm of Nokia. So we deliver to Nokia the research and technologies that really go into the new generations of 6G. We've been also working on 5G, of course, before that. And of course, in terms of, let's say, the core technologies that Nokia needs. But at the same time, we also have a wide range of other cool stuff that we do at Bell Labs that applies also outside of Nokia.
So this is a broad question, but Bell Labs sort of works on the future of everything. What are some of the sort of biggest tech-driven opportunities that you think will change our future?
It's almost like this trying to decide from a big menu. But I would like to kind of bring up a few, I would say, obvious ones. We believe that quantum computing will play a role. So that's one aspect that we're pursuing. We're doing research. We're investing in quantum computing. Even though if you really talk to the researchers today, they might not even know how to apply it to actual like business problems or real problems. So there's that long-term research that we invest in because we believe this is the future. It's also part of our DNA and tradition. We invented the transistor, by the way. So this is how it all started. That's the first quantum technology that we had. And if you think of your mobile phone, I know we don't make them anymore, but this one has about 16 billion transistors in it. So if you ask the researchers back in the day that invented the transistor what would be the future, I'm not sure the researchers are always the right people to ask that question.
You're also deploying a cellular network on the moon? Question mark?
Correct. So we've partnered with Intuitive Machines and with NASA on this endeavor to go to the moon again. And part of that question that we wanted to answer is, can we take the technology that we have developed for our cellular communication here on Earth and just deploy it on the moon? So this is the challenge that we gave to our scientists and our researchers, to really create the network for the moon with all the problems and all the constraints that we can imagine and you can imagine. Might be not always allowed to talk about all the details. But that's a great challenge for our researchers, and it's also something fun to work on. So we're looking to launch our system, deploy it on the moon this year, 2024.
It's crazy that you could use all 2 people on the moon potentially will be able to use cell phones.
And hopefully also whatever is running around on the moon.
Got it. That makes sense. Now, it's hard to have a conversation about future technology without bringing up AI, especially generative AI. What types of AI research and applications are you all working on?
Right. AI is a well-known tool to almost all engineers today. If you've graduated recently, you've used AI, you're familiar with machine learning techniques, technologies, and that's how we've been using AI for many decades already. But not only that, Bell Labs has actually one of the research groups that has been really pushing the mathematics and the foundation of AI. So a lot of the algorithms that you know and you find today in the AI toolkit out there has originated and started also in Bell Labs. So that's going to continue be the focus of Bell Labs, to find the right angle on AI. One of them is, for instance, responsibility and responsible and trustworthy AI. That's an aspect that is very interesting from a mathematical problem point of view. So we are working on really finding the ways to prove that our AI can be made privacy preserving, or it can also be made trustworthy, and we can prove it mathematically. When it comes to the potentials of Gen AI, that's the next kind of leap forward that everybody has noticed, whether they want it or not. All of a sudden, we have this new possibilities that everybody is thinking about. What else can you, what other problems can you apply generative AI to, and what do you want to actually do with it? And I believe there are multiple applications, but not only applications, it's also like, it's again part of the toolkit that we're going to adopt. We have been working already on adapting it because we're in the business of communication, on creating communication and protocols. And obviously something that knows how to chat is something that would apply to these kind of problems. So there's many, many applications that we're pursuing, but also the basics and the fundamentals behind it.
Now, Nokia Bell Labs does a lot of research, and there's also a lot of AI technology out there that is out there, but sort of your regular person doesn't know how to use it. Tell me about adoption. Tell me about getting things to market.
So getting things to market, when you're in a corporate research environment, obviously you try to look for the problems that the company will benefit by solving. So we're still developing technology that will go into the next generation of our products, of Nokia products. The communication, you hear that 6G is something that is going to be AI native. That has a meaning. That is really a technology that is intrinsic part of really the way that the electronics, everything works with basically this AI embedded in it. But also when it comes to the applications running on top of it. So where AI is applying and changing the world is also, of course, on how we humans, consumers, interact with AI. And that's also continuing within this digitalization journey. I talked about Industry 4.0. Now we talk about Industry 5.0. Just to say that there is another aspect to in the Industrial Revolution, which is the human centricity. We need to also take care of the needs for our workers, for their safety, using whatever capabilities and technologies that can allow us to create a safe and productive and sustainable environment. And I think AI will keep playing a role in that.
What research or piece of technology that Bell Labs is working on has the biggest will have the biggest impact on startup collaboration?
Right. So I mentioned before that at Bell Labs, we're also good at inventing things that we don't know what to do with. And the way that we have realized that we can create value is by going outside and presenting our technology to the world and looking for partnership. So more recently, we kind of stepped further away, or let's say beyond only thinking about like internal incubation, but also talking about how can we partner with startups, how can we partner with let's say companies working on the same problems, interested in solving the same problems, to do the co-creation, also to invent the future together. So we are believing in that step where taking our innovation outside is always going to be better than just leave it in our lab.
What about enterprise collaboration?
When it comes to enterprise collaboration, that's the same model. It's finding the right partner that's excited about the problem, excited about the technology, understanding how it could apply to their business. And we've got a few examples like that. I see Paul here,
Hey, Paul.
who's representing one of our successful stories. We started actually in my lab before I even joined, where we had this drone technology, the research working on autonomous drones. And we were approached by a company, a startup working in vertical farming, and they needed something that would allow them to inspect all their plants, all with the cheapest possible way you could imagine. So we decided to use our drones to do that. And flying drones indoors is a little bit more tricky than flying it outdoors, because you don't have GPS. You don't have any way to find out where you are unless somebody is guiding you. So that's, in order to create this autonomous drone system, we really worked on the research and we made it perfect. But then we realized that the business that is really going to benefit from this is going to happen more on the inventory side, more on like the logistics side. So this is like warehouses and all sorts of logistics problems. And that's kind of the pivot that we learned, that we needed to talk to business-oriented people like Paul to tell us, you guys should maybe pivot a little bit on the problem that you're trying to solve, and we'll find you the right business for that. So that's the mindset, the way that we see kind of the collaboration also happening.
What are you most proud of that Bell Labs has developed? And can you share any details of upcoming projects?
So joining Bell Labs last year, the buzzword of the day was a little bit the industrial metaverse. That was also the topic I was working with with Siemens. What I found at Bell Labs is really a lot more advanced technologies on the sensing, understand and act. We understand that loop very well. We understand also the way that a lot of the technologies that we develop in our labs for communication, for information technology, applies to sensing, applies to understanding the context of our surrounding workers, surrounding robots, surrounding systems. So we think of the way that we can really enable this physical and digital fusion will require a contribution from Bell Labs, and we're on it.
Can you share are there any specific projects you can talk about?
I would say
I'm going to get
stay
you in
tuned.
trouble. So, what is one piece of information that you want people attending this talk to sort of take away from this conversation?
So this is the second startup-oriented event I attended since joining Bell Labs. Last year I went to Slush in Finland. If you've never been there, it's a very cool event. But this is really where I find, I would say, the energy, because I'm looking for collaboration that is next to my lab. We're here in New Jersey. And we're thinking that with collaboration, we can accelerate innovation. That's what we're looking for.
So go find Amine after this talk.
Yes.
And
We
tell
have a
him about
stand
your
here. Come
startup.
visit us and talk to us. We'd love to talk.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yas.
All right.